vision you talk about has been kept alive. And I think that the impetus in all the great religions of the world has been that vision. It's then been debased and degraded in various ways. But this vision has never left any of these religions. There are still people within them, I think, who still have it. And this is the inner life that keeps them going, over and above the simple political power.
I know. But suppose a man like me rejects tradition, rejects anything that has been said about truth, about God, whatever it is, the other side. I don't know. The other people say, yes, we have this and that. So how am I, as a human being who has really rejected all this? Tradition, the people who have said there is, and the people who have said that's all nonsense, people who have said we have found that it is, and so on, so on. If you wipe all that out and say, look, I must find out, not as an individual, can I find, can this truth or this bliss, this illumination, can come without depending on all that. See, if I'm anchored, for example, in Hinduism, with all this, not the superficiality of it, not all the rituals and all the superstitions. If I'm anchored in the religious belief of a Hindu, of a real Brahmin, I'm always anchored. And I may go very far, but I'm anchored there. That's not freedom. Because there must be freedom to discover this, or come upon this.
Yes.
So we're going a little bit too far.
No, but I would then go back and say, well, you put forward the question of the man who rejects all these traditions. You said, let us suppose that I'm a man who's rejected all these traditions. I would then say, well, what reason do you have for rejecting all these traditions in such a way?
Well, that seems to be the part of the problem that we've arrived at. If we've said that man is conditioned biologically and socially by his family, the tradition is part of that. We've said that that's the problem that we're up against now. Is it possible for him to change his nature, or do we have to deal with each of these problems particularly as they come up?
Well, what I was saying is that at the inner core of all the great religions of the world is a vision of this possibility of a transformation, whether it's called salvation or liberation or nirvana or what. There's this vision. Now, there have always been people within those religions who've had this vision and lived this vision. Now, they...
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Well, perhaps part of your radical rejection of all religion involves denying that. But if so, I would say why? Why should we be so radical as to deny...
I question whether they really, I may be sacrilegious, I may be an infidel, non-believer. I wonder if I am anchored to a certain organized belief, whether I can ever find the other. If I make in Buddhist, for example, I believe that the Buddha is my savior. Suppose I believe that. And that has been told to me from childhood. My parents have been Buddhists and so on, so on, so on. And as long as I have found that security in that idea, or in that belief, in that person, there's no freedom.
No, but it's possible that you can move beyond that framework, you see. Starting from within it, that you can move beyond it.
That means I wipe out everything.
It means you wipe it out. But there's a difference between an approach where you wipe it out from the beginning.
From the beginning I'm talking.
and an approach where you start within it and go beyond it.
You see that? Wait, yes, I know this well-known argument. Which is important, breaking down all the barriers at the beginning, not at the end. I'm a Hindu. I see what Hinduism is, lot of, all the rest of it. And why should I go through number of years to be ended? Why can't I finish it the first day?
Because I think you'd have to reinvent and rediscover for yourself a great many things that you would be able to get through more quickly if you didn't.
No, his question is, I am a living human being in relationship with him or with her. In that relationship, I'm in conflict. He says, don't go about religion and illumination and nirvana and all the rest of it. Transform this, live rightly here, then the door is open.
Yes, but surely isn't that easier said than done? Easier said than done. I mean,
I know it's easier said than done, therefore, let's find out. Let me find out with him or with you or with her how to live in this world without conflict. Right, sir?
That's what we're asking.
Can I find out? Or is that impossible?
We don't know.
No, therefore we start, we don't know.
Okay.
So let's inquire into that. Because if my relationship with life is not right in quotes for the moment, how can I find out something that's immensely beyond all this, beyond time, beyond thought, beyond measure? I can't. Till we have established right relationship between us, which is order, how can I find that which is supreme order? So I must begin with you, not with that. I don't know if you're meeting me.
No, I would have thought that you could easily argue the other way around. Until you have that, you can't get this right, because the whole history of man shows that starting just from...
And therefore you invent that. You invent something illogical, may not be true, maybe just invention of thought, and you imagine that to be order and hope that order will filter into you. It seems so illogical, irrational, whereas this is so rational.
But is it possible?
But that is it. Let's find out.
But you've now completely reversed your argument to start with, you see. He started with the patient coming into the psychiatrist's office who wants to get his relationships right, get the human relationships out of this state of disorder and conflict into something that's more tolerable.
I am not sure this way, forgive me, doctor, if I'm blundering into where the angels